Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our reading through the Tanak night, the 30th of July, 2025. We'll be reading out of the book of Jubilees, chapters 11 through 15. We're going to read each chapter, then we'll break it down, okay? You can go to our YouTube channel, Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at, examine, get the meat out. These videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. This is a non-Masonic channel. We deal with the Tanak and the Torah. Tanak being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. And the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Savior and our Redeemer, our Deliverer, the Lord of Hosts. Okay. This channel was created to aid and assist all Hebrews who are waking up in these last days to their true identity. Okay. Shalom and welcome to the channel. Welcome to our reading through the Tanak. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer. We'll read the Psalms. We have some current events, some need-to-know information. We'll open it up for some Q&A. And then our topic for discussion is we have some more information, forbidden information on the unveiling of the origins of darkness, which is coming out of the book of Jubilees. Okay, then we'll do our reading in Leviticus chapters 11 through 15. Like I said, we'll read and break down the chapters. Then we'll pick up some scripture and we'll break that scripture down. And then we'll close out. Okay. Moment of silence for the Lord of Hosts. And all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. Oh Lord, we come this day praising thee and worshiping thee for thy might and thy power and thy great understanding. Oh Lord, give us strength and wisdom to endure all that thou hast foretold. Give us, O Lord, knowledge to rightly divide thy word, that thou may deliver it in righteousness and in truth. Oh Lord, we need you so very much in these latter days, and we will tarry and depend upon you, oh Lord, because there is none else besides you. You are our deliverer and our redeemer. Peace be unto you. Okay. That being said, we read a psalm. Okay. Okay, I'll read Psalms 9. Give me 1 minute. Okay, I'll read Psalm 9. It says, praise for God's justice. I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart, and I will show forth all thy marvelous works. I will be glad and rejoice in thee. I will sing praises to thy name, O thou most high. When mine enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. For thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou sittest in the throne judging right. Thou hast rebuked the heathen. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. And thou hast put out their name forever and ever. And thy enemies, O thy enemies, destruction are come to a perpetual end. And thou hast destroyed cities. Their memorial is perished with them. But the Lord shall endure forever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment, and he shall judge the world in righteousness, and he shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in the time of trouble. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. For thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. Sing praises unto the Lord, which dwelleth in Zion. Declare among the people his doings. when he maketh inquisition for blood, he remember them. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. Have mercy upon me, O Lord. Consider my trouble, which I suffer for them that hate me, that thou that lifteth up me up from the gates of the death, that I may show forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I rejoice in thy salvation. The heathens are sunk down in the pit that they made, uh, in the net which they had in their own foot taken. The Lord is known by the judgment which he executed. The wicked is snared in the works of his own hands. Hajigan, whatever this word is, Selah. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forgot God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectations of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Lord, and let not men prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Selah. So that was Psalms 9. Anybody have any comments on that?
Shalom, everyone. When I get out what you read, I got like three things. I get that us to remember that God is the beginning and the ending, and that in all our circumstances, have joy, and knowing that we can rest in the Lord of hosts. That's my three things I got out of that.
Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Okay. So with that being said, we'll play these current events, and then we'll break them down. Okay.
The residents of Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky woke up to chaos. Windows rattled, walls trembled, traffic froze, and panic spread. At exactly 8:25 a.m. local time, the earth moved beneath Russia's far east. A massive earthquake struck just off the coast. The magnitude was around 8.8 on the Richter scale, the most powerful earthquake to strike the region since 1952. That's more than 70 years. Russia's Far East shook by its impact, and for a few terrifying moments, everything stood still. Several people are injured, most of them sustained injuries while evacuating. There has been some damage. A kindergarten collapsed during the quake. There were no kids in there, thankfully. So only the building is damaged. For now, things are under control in Russia. However, there is panic across the globe, and I will tell you why. Let me pull up a map for you. This is Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula. That's where the earthquake's epicenter is. And this sits on the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire is a belt around the edges of the Pacific Ocean. This is the Earth's most geologically active zone. The planet constantly moves and explodes here. 90% of the earthquakes happen on this ring. It is home to 452 volcanoes. So this zone is no stranger to seismic activities. But this earthquake was a massive one. It was the biggest in 14 years, the strongest since the 2011 Japan earthquake, and the sixth largest quake on record, the sixth largest ever. All of this has raised another fear, the fear of tsunamis. You see, when the ocean floor moves during an earthquake, it displaces a lot of water, and that triggers giant waves, or tsunamis as they're called. So this massive quake triggered global tsunami warnings in Japan and in all of the US West Coast, in Hawaii, and even as far as Alaska. Basically, the entire Pacific coast. Countries soon jumped into action. Russia was the first to be affected, of course. The tsunami waves flooded coastal towns, buildings were submerged in seawater. 2,000 people were evacuated here. Russia has declared emergency on the tsunami hit islands. The region's governor called for calm.
Today's earthquake was a challenge for all of us. It's the strongest in decades of tremors. According to preliminary estimates by specialists and seismologists, the magnitude of the earthquake was 7.7 to 7.9, and there is a tsunami threat warning. That's why I am again repeating my plea to stay away from coastlines.
This breakthrough laser wipes out nail fungus.
Then it was Japan. It started evacuating its citizens. Nearly 2 million people were moved out of coastal areas.
For citizens in the areas included in the tsunami warning, please evacuate to a safe place immediately, such as designated evacuation buildings and hills. We are receiving reports and currently monitoring for any details of damage or casualties.
Workers evacuated the Fukushima nuclear plant. In 2011, it was the site of a major nuclear disaster, so this time there were concerns too. Officials say there were no abnormalities yet. On the mainland, people moved to higher ground. People were seen sheltering on the roofs. Tsunami sirens were heard in Japan's Hokkaido. And soon the massive waves came. The first wave struck the north of Japan. They were around 1 to 1.6 foot high, which is small compared to what they'd seen in the past. And yet authorities remain on alert. Which brings us to the United States of America. Hawaii was the first to sound the alarm. It asked everyone to vacate the beaches and move inland.
We would not be doing this if this wasn't most serious at this point in time. So please take this very seriously, and don't go down to the beach. Don't be looking at waves. Get yourself as high as you possibly can.
Okay, you heard anything about this, AJ?
Shalom. No, sir. I haven't heard about this, but it makes sense though to the other plans you've been telling us about, and just with the natural disasters and the floods.
Right, exactly. The so-called leaders of these countries, they know it's warfare. That's how they take it. Okay. So yeah. Anybody else have anything on that? Okay, we go to our let me see what I got. Here we go.
So your favorite fast food restaurant here in the United States may be closing down very soon. And guess what? They're putting it all on you, saying it's because of you that they are shutting down. These restaurants just aren't profitable because the American people have stopped going in to buy some overpriced fast food. Now, I'm going to explain what restaurants these are, what they are saying, and why it, for whatever reason. But I'll break all this down in just a moment. Now, if you enjoy fast food, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button, and now let's begin. Look at this right here. It says Jack in the Box closing up to 200 underperforming locations. What to know? Now, I'm going to read a little bit of this to you, but here's what you need to keep in mind. Jack in the Box has been struggling just like every other fast food chain.
Are these heart-healthy habits skyrocketing?
And it's because prices for the food have increased. The cost of labor has increased. For the leases on many of these buildings have increased. As a result, many of these restaurants are not as profitable as they once were, especially when if the price of the food and the labor, it costs more to produce that product. Guess what? They're putting that additional increase, the price increase, over to you, the consumer. Well, You're not buying. You have stopped because now fast food is more expensive than eating at home. There was a time, there was a place where you could go to McDonald's and it was almost 50 to 60% of what you would spend if you cooked at home. And everybody was saying, well, it better just cook at home. It's better to cook at home because you get fresh, you get healthy. Fast food is fast food. It's unhealthy, it's greasy, it's not what you need. Well, guess what? Fast food now is more expensive. In many cases, it is much more expensive than eating at home. The restaurants that are closing down are the ones that are inside of a gas station. That's what is occurring at this time. So keep that in mind. Now, I do want to show you one other thing. Okay, this article right here. It says 9 fast food chains quietly closing stores in the U.S. We're going to go over this. I'm not going to talk in too much depth about these, but just so you understand what stores are shutting down. Starbucks is one of them. There's many reasons why. Starbucks is a little bit expensive for most lower income households, and especially at $6, $7 a drink, it's just more than they can afford. They are shutting down, but there's other things behind the scenes as well, having to do with the workers and stuff like that. KFC is another big one. KFC has been getting more and more expensive and at a very quick rate. Most people that even I talk to, friends of mine, they go to KFC on special occasions. That's when they go to celebrate. They go to KFC. I go to KFC, all the time. My kids love the chicken tenders or the macaroni or whatever, and the biscuits, and so we'll go there, maybe a couple, 3 times a month. And what I've seen is it's getting more expensive. BurgerFi is another one. Okay, they filed for a Chapter 11 bankruptcy in September 2024. Steak and Shake, another one. I don't know the last time we've even been there. Hardee's, Hardee's, Carl Jr., things like that. They're shutting locations. Noodles and Company, never been to this one, says despite a reported improvement in customer satisfaction, Noodles and Company isn't without its challenges. The fast casual company with the menu focused on pasta noodle dishes faced a closure of nearly 20 locations of summer 2024, many of which were suffering from low sales and contributed to a total of $2 million loss combined. Pizza Hut, another one. Their market share has been dropping. Domino's is the big one. Pizza Hut is seen as fairly expensive. Even when I talk to friends and family members of mine, they say they only go to Pizza Hut on special occasions. They go to Domino's, they go to Little Caesars if they want a pizza. Another one.
Okay. Any comments on that? Anybody see any signs of that?
Shalom, everyone. Not so far right now in North Carolina where I'm in my area. I haven't seen any closing down just yet.
Okay. Anybody else?
Shalom, not in Atlanta. Some of these that he talked about, Burger Fries, we don't have that one, or Noodle Company. I haven't seen any thus far.
Okay. Got some need to know information right here.
President Putin, Russian President Putin, said something very interesting in 2017 in an interview that he gave with the French newspaper Le Figaro, and I always found it quite striking. He said that he had dealt with many American presidents by that point, by 2017, and he said they come into power with ideas, but then men in dark suits and briefcases with blue ties come and explain to them the reality, and you never hear of those ideas again. And what Putin was saying, and he knows it well, given his own political history, the CIA, the deep state in the United States, the intelligence community, the Pentagon, the armed services committees of Congress, the military contractors, they're the men in the dark suits and the blue ties and the briefcases. And they run foreign policy far more consistently than any individual president. And while we see Trump on the social media and all the rest, there is a deep state. There's no doubt about it. There is a continuity of policy that stretches over decades. And we're first seeing that played out. American foreign policy for decades has done Israel's bidding. Not automatically, not immediately, but at least eventually. The United States has gone to war or supported wars on behalf of Netanyahu for 30 years. The Iraq War, the overthrow of the Syrian government, the war in Libya, Israel's invasion of Lebanon, the wars that the U.S. supported in Sudan and in Somalia, and now the new war in Iran. These have been on Netanyahu's checklist all along. Into this latest round of disaster.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving us the history there, Professor Sachs, and incredible. I mean, that we, now look back and we see that we had a deal in place, obviously, 10 years ago. Trump got rid of it. The Iranians have been, I mean, even we'll go back to March of this year, and Tulsi Gabbard had gone on and testified saying that they do not want to nuke, in all of our expert analysis, and, Donald Trump being advised they don't want to nuke, they're not building a nuke, and he just denies that. It just shows the incredible amount of control that Netanyahu and the Israeli lobby have over our government, which is just criminal. I mean, it's just amazing.
And, for the first months of the administration, people told me in or near the White House, don't worry, we're negotiating. They may actually, in this weird way, as I said, this delusional way, believe it. Because even Trump's post, okay, we did this bombing, now it's all over, now all they have to do is concede at the negotiating table. It may be their delusion, in fact. It's so peculiar, but so predictable also. Again, this clean break strategy of Netanyahu, going back 30 years, after 9/11, we know, brought about a list of 7 wars to pursue. And Americans should understand what just happened yesterday is the 7th one on the list. Those 7 countries included Iraq, they included Syria, Lebanon, Somalia, Sudan, Libya, and Iran. And 6 out of those 7 we've been engaged in. Quite actively in most cases.
Final question for you this evening, and thank you so much again for all your time today. Where do we go from here? And what is your predictions for how this is going to unfold? I mean, I think you mentioned earlier this is the start of a new war. Do you see this blowing up into a much larger regional conflict? Is this America's next forever war? What should American citizens, what should we be demanding from our government and preparing ourselves for in the future?
Well, rather than predicting, which I'm not very good at, I would say, what should we do? So I'll take that part of the question. What we should be doing is actually trying to end the perpetual wars that have raged in the Middle East under Netanyahu's watch, and to go to the crux of the matter. And that is, believe it or not, a 2-state solution in Palestine and Israel would also stop the wars in Lebanon, Syria, Iran, and across the Red Sea in the Horn of Africa and North Africa, because so much of this is interconnected. And so much of it comes back to the idea that there are militancies because the Palestinian cause finds support across the Muslim region, the Arab countries, and the Islamic states more broadly. More than 180 countries in the world with 95% of the world population say, come on, two states, according to international law, the state of Israel, which by the way would be 78% of the British Palestine, and a state of Palestine alongside living in peace is absolutely available, is practical, is the way to have peace. And in that context, one could have peace, one could stop this underlying reason for Israel's incessant wars of choice, and the United States could actually do what Donald Trump thinks he has done, and that is to have Iran at the negotiating table, which Iran has been the one pleading for decades.
Okay, any comments on that? Feedback? Okay, we'll open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions, comments, testimony, anything you want to bring out? Now is the time. Anything from your studies? Anybody got anything?
Shalom, brother Leonard. I something, it's not even really big, but something when I've been reading the Old Testament all this time and realizing how they always say stretch forth, like when we're praying, stretch
Right.
forth our hands toward, towards heaven. And in Christianity, they teach us to put our hands together and
Right.
bow our head.
Right.
So like,
Exactly.
yeah, that is, it's just totally the opposite. Just everything Christianity taught us.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we talked about that maybe a couple of years ago or so. But I was saying
Right.
how you get down on your knees with your face to the ground. That's worship. That's not prayer. When you make a petition to the Most High, you're standing up with your hands stretched forward. Okay.
Right. Yes, sir.
They got us thinking that you get down on your knees and with your hands folded and pray. That's a praise. Like we see in 18, Genesis 18, when the Lord of Hosts showed up and Abraham recognized who he was, he got down on the ground with his face to the ground and worshiped, not pray. And notice how the Lord of Hosts is continuously saying that too, about what he did with his right hand, his right hand, his right hand. And we see in Deuteronomy 32 how he stretched forth his hands to heaven. And then we know it's the Lord of Hosts because it tell you he possessed the glistening sword. When he stretched forth his hand, but like I was saying, the power is in the right hand. That's why it says David is on the right hand side of Michael. Michael is on the right hand side of the Creator because the power is in the right hand. Even at the Red Sea, he told Moses to stretch forth his hand. And I don't know if anybody caught one of my older videos I had where he says in the scriptures in the Hebrew, the actual Hebrew writing language, when you're dealing with the God of Israel, the image is a man with his hands stretched forward to heaven. That's why you see JC, they got JC doing it because it's actually symbolizing who our God is. It's the Lord of Hosts with his hands stretched forward. We see that all through the Tanak. He's stretching forth his hand. And he says, I delivered you with my right hand. Because he stretched forward. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Any other comments on that? Okay. Uh, somebody got something?
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. Um, I was thinking of a question based off of AJ's revelation. In the book of Adam and Eve,
Well,
there is a lot of that with Adam and Eve with their outstretched hands. However, my question is more based on how much, and maybe the book I have, but how much the book, it seems to like force itself to tie back to the New Testament. And I don't know if there's a version that doesn't do that so much. And that's what my question was. Is there a specific version that doesn't seem to have a lot of New Testament shoved into it, as if it's trying to lead everybody back to Jesus?
right, when you understand what these people done, I was saying how that, like I said, numerology and typology, all those things come out of Egypt. And the Egyptians got it from, when you start talking about Pythagoras and all the psychologists that was in Greece, they all went to Egypt, and so they learned all those things, geometry and all that stuff. They learned those things from the Egyptians, and like I said, one of them is typology. You know, you can go to a script or a story or a book, and you see how the book was, the familiarities in the book, and all you do is come and you want to inject a place or a being or event into the book. You just inject it in through the familiarities of the different things in the book. Like, for example, JC, they created him at the Council Hill. He's actually Serapis, which Serapis was created from the Egyptians gave Alexander General Ptolemy gave him, made a god for him, so they made him Serapis. Then by the time you get to the Council Hill, they took Serapis and made JC out of it. So once they got this being they created, they got to inject him into the Old Testament. So one of the ways is, we know Moses, during the time of Moses, the Pharaohs killed all the boys at 2 years old and up. So they put that story in there. That's a way to inject JC into the story. It's actually the actual event was they was killing them because they were trying to kill Moses. Now they took the story and put JC in it. Now they injected him into the Old Testament. So that's how they do. That's what that typology is. So it's not that you going back to the Old Testament. It's that they injecting New Testament stuff into the Old Testament to lead you to the New Testament. That's what that is. Like another one, Moses was born. The day when Moses was born, a star came in the sky. The star represented Moses. It came across the sky, and the wise men from Nimrod's wise men, they saw it, the star, and they went and told Nimrod about it. So that's one of the reasons why they banned the book of Enoch. It's because the story is tied to Abraham. It's not tied to JC, but now it's tied to JC because they use typology. Just like the sun. The sun is Israel. The nation of Israel is the son. He went into Egypt. Son went into Egypt, and the whole prophesied to Abraham that your seed, your son's gonna go into Egypt for 400 years, and they're gonna afflict him, and then they're gonna come out. But now they're saying Mary and JC went into Egypt, and that's all over the scriptures, and over the time period, over the last 3,000, 2,500 years, they did that in all the books. All the so-called books that they're over a process of time, when something would come up about a certain thing and it was obvious, they come back and they inject it into the book. So now over 2,500 years or so, now it's pretty much everywhere. New Testament ideology has been injected in all these different areas in these different books. Okay, that make any sense to you?
Yes. I
That's
just,
what
yes, it's hard to read the book because in the middle there's even, or the beginning, it's not the middle. But like you said, there's even Adam praying to the Lord, and it's like the Lord's Prayer from the New Testament, and I'm like, oh, have mercy.
right, exactly.
Like that's not even a thing. He says something like the holy men of old. There's no holy men of old. You're what are you talking about?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's what it means by once you get an eye for that and an ear for it. That's what it means by taking the meat out and leaving the garbage. Over time, you acquire that understanding. And that's what that meant. That's what pretty much on all my classes I bring them when I first open up. That's what I'm talking about. Getting the meat out. You learn to do that over time. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay, let me play this right here. Whether you know it or not, this right here is what's coming.
The next economic collapse will
right around the corner.
Be 100 times more devastating than 2008, and the warning signs are flashing red across every sector of the American economy. While the media focuses on surface-level statistics, the underlying structural damage to our financial system has reached levels that make the Great Depression look like a minor recession. Folks, what we're witnessing right now is unlike anything we've seen in American history. The 2008 financial crisis was triggered by subprime mortgages and affected primarily the housing sector. But what's building now is a multi-trillion-dollar catastrophe that spans every corner of our economy, from a $35.46 trillion national debt that's growing by $2.6 trillion per year to a commercial real estate collapse that's about to take down hundreds of regional banks. The mainstream economists and politicians keep telling you that.
Yeah, I was talking about this the other day about how these people they're operating off of the creator. They didn't gave us a confusion of face. We starting to cast that out, but for like I said, the last 3,000 years, we had a confusion of face because they didn't hook with our scriptures. We don't know how to shape. We don't know who our Savior and our Redeemer is. I can't rightly divide the Creator from the Redeemer and all this stuff. But the Most High works, in increments of sevens. Like He tells us, 6 days I work, 7 days you rest. 6 years you till the ground, 7 days you rest. But they got a thing called some Shemitah. If the Creator would bring 6 years they work, the 7th year is judgment. That He'll bring. If you keep it the right way, it's a blessing. But if you don't keep it the right way, in the 7 years, judgment. So these people, they've been using that. Like I said, 2018, they had some kind of catastrophic event. Now look what's happening. It's 2025. So guess what? Something's gonna happen. 2001, they had the World Trade Center. 7 years later, they had the 2008 economic collapse. So every 7 years, they're operating as if they the redeemer or they the judge. And they've been getting away with it, but it's up. Time is up now. But yeah, that's what. That's a perfect example of what I was talking about when I say Shemitah. Okay, put in more of this.
That everything is fine, that we've learned from past mistakes, that the system is more resilient now. But when you dig into the real data, the numbers they don't want you to see, you'll discover we're sitting on the biggest financial time bomb in human history. Let me walk you through the 5 catastrophic forces that are converging right now to create an economic collapse that will make 2008 look like a warm-up act. And if you have any wealth, any investments, or any plans for retirement, you need to understand what's coming before it's too late. The first force that's about to devastate.
And they making money off of this. That's why Edomites so filthy rich over against what everybody else is. They know how these people operate. Like for example, with the World Trade Center, none of them went to the work that day because they already knew what was up there. That Edomite had put insurance on the World Trade Center. He knew what was going to happen. That's how they getting rich off this, because they knowing the system that these people got in place. Okay.
The American economy is the complete collapse of commercial real estate, and the numbers are absolutely terrifying. According to Moody's latest analysis, office building values are projected to decline by 26% through 2025. But that's just the beginning of this disaster. Here's what most people don't understand. We have nearly $929 billion in commercial real estate loans maturing in the next 12 months. These aren't small loans to mom and pop businesses. These are massive mortgages on office buildings, shopping centers, and apartment complexes that were taken out when interest rates were near zero and
So they're gonna make, we might go busted, but they're gonna make millions of dollars off of this. And so you got, not only do you have the 6 every 7 years, but you got 7 times 7, which is 49 in the 50th year. So, and like I said before, if you do according to our language or our culture, the law, 7 times 7, 49 is a jubilee, right? But if you're not living accordingly righteous, it's a judgment. So you think this is a coincidence with 7 times 7, 49? So this is so huge because they didn't set it up for, it's like a jubilee. Now they're gonna make millions and they're gonna make billions and trillions of dollars off of what they get ready to do, but the rest of everybody else is gonna be turned into it's gonna be poverty. Everybody gonna get poverty stricken. They did the same thing back in the Great Depression, part of the same cycle.
Property values were at all-time highs. Now these borrowers have to refinance at rates that are 3 to 4 times higher than what they originally paid, while their properties are worth 26% less than when they took out the loans. It's mathematically impossible for most of these loans to be refinanced. The result is going to be a wave of defaults and foreclosures is collapsing. This isn't just about one sector. This represents the systematic deindustrialization of America. What's driving this collapse is a combination of factors that are all getting worse simultaneously. New tariffs, including a 25% tariff on imported cars from Canada and Mexico, are disrupting supply.
Yeah, it's all orchestrated. Okay. Any comments on that? Okay. I'm gonna play this topic for discussion, and then we're going to we're gonna be reading out of the book of Leviticus, chapters 11 through 15. So I'm gonna play this first, and then we'll go into that. It's a topic for discussion. Okay, here we go. Okay.
And labeled as dangerous, the Book of Jubilees is one of those cases. An ancient, controversial, and bold text buried by time for centuries, like someone never wanted you to know the truth. But why was it banned? What was so threatening about its pages? This isn't some cheap conspiracy theory. We're talking about a book that challenged the official calendar used by the entire religious system, that revealed shocking details about angels, the Nephilim, and even the true origin of demons. And the most unsettling part? It directly contradicts traditions you've always believed to be untouchable. Today, you're about to understand why the Book of Jubilees was considered way too dangerous for ordinary people, and why it was kept in the shadows for so long. For centuries, the Book of Jubilees was treated like a hidden danger, almost a taboo among ancient Hebrew texts. It offered a bold interpretation of biblical events, messing with things many considered sacred and untouchable. And here comes the unavoidable question. Why was the Book of Jubilees banned? The answer goes way beyond simple theological disagreements. What was really at stake was control. Control over truth, over time, and most of all, over people's faith. The controversy exploded when the book introduced a calendar of 364 days. A solar calendar that shocked those following the traditional lunar calendar used in the Jerusalem temple. This wasn't just a debate over dates, it was a direct clash with the foundations of religious authority. The content didn't just challenge the system, it threatened how leaders controlled sacred celebrations. And as expected, there was only one outcome. The Book of Jubilees was banned, hunted down, and almost erased from history, until one desert discovery changed everything. The time when the Book of Jubilees was written couldn't have been more intense. This was the Maccabean era, a period filled with religious and cultural conflicts. While the people of Israel fought to hold on to their identity, here comes a text saying that God's true calendar wasn't the lunar one used in the temple, but a calendar of 364 days, revealed directly to Moses by the angel of the presence. Imagine the chaos that caused. This wasn't just about time, it was about spiritual authority. This solar calendar versus lunar calendar became a symbol of resistance for supporters of the Book of Jubilees. Following the solar calendar was a way of showing direct loyalty to God.
Yeah, remember what it says in Daniel. He's going to come, the Antichrist, which is Antiochus, change times and laws. Yeah, that was fulfilled then.
This flips the traditional narrative, showing that the patriarchs and divine law existed long before the Exodus. Noah wasn't just a survivor, he was a link between the ancient world and future generations of the covenant. And after this phase, another spiritual war was brewing, this time in the heart of Egypt. When most people think of the plagues of Egypt, they picture physical disasters, water turning to blood, swarms of locusts, darkness. But the Book of Jubilees takes it way further. According to the text, what happened was a full-blown spiritual war, where each plague was a direct strike against Egypt's gods, who, in the book's view, were actually evil entities led by Mastema. He was behind the scenes, manipulating everything to stop Israel's freedom. And get this, even Pharaoh's magicians supposedly received temporary powers from Mastema, just to imitate Moses and Aaron's miracles. The battle got so intense that Mastema even tried to kill Moses before his mission began. A desperate attempt to block God's plan for deliverance. With every one of Pharaoh's refusals, Mastema's spiritual influence grew, hardening the king's heart. But God fought back hard. The plagues kept escalating until the final blow, the death of the firstborns. According to the Book of Jubilees, that moment wasn't just history. It was a cosmic turning point in the spiritual warfare in the Bible. And after this war, the focus shifted back to the patriarchs and laws that, according to the book, existed long before Moses ever climbed Sinai. It's easy to think God's laws started with Moses on Mount Sinai, but the Book of Jubilees completely destroys that idea. According to the text, the patriarchs and divine law were already inseparable, long before Moses was even born. Abraham, for example, didn't just follow God's commands. He observed festivals, performed detailed rituals. And here's a lesser-known fact. The circumcision originated in heaven. That's right. The book says circumcision wasn't a new covenant with Abraham. It already existed, written in the heavenly tablets. Even more amazing is how Abraham learned all this. The Book of Jubilees says he had direct encounters with angels who taught him every detail, from sacrifices to festivals, and even the Hebrew language, described in the book as the language of heaven. So the passing down of laws wasn't random. It was a divine, carefully guided process, revealed generation after generation. This pattern shows one thing. God always prepared leaders
The order of Melchizedek.
before every major moment in history. And speaking of preparation, the next secret shows how even humanity's sins were being recorded right from the start. In the book of Jubilees, sin isn't just a moral slip-up or a behavioral mistake. Every sin is seen as an actual debt, a real entry written in the heavenly tablets. That means everything we do,
80, what, 740, and less than what?
good or bad, leaves a direct mark in heaven. The story of Joseph and his brothers shows this in a powerful way. Their act of betrayal against Joseph wasn't just a sad family drama, it was recorded in the heavenly records, a debt they would eventually have to face. But here's the hopeful twist. The book of Jubilees doesn't just focus on punishment. Genuine repentance is also written in the heavenly tablets, like a spiritual credit on your record. This shows a God who is absolutely just, but also deeply merciful. He sees every detail, every sincere act of repentance, and every honest intention of the heart. This view totally shifts how we understand divine justice. And it's exactly from this concept of cosmic debt that the next secret emerges, taking us back to the first major human crime, the murder of Abel. The Book of Jubilees doesn't treat Abel's murder as just a tragic moment between two brothers. It describes Cain's crime as a cosmic rupture, a direct violation of a law that existed before the earth was even created. Yeah, you heard that right. According to the book, the commandment against murder was already written in the heavenly tablets, part of God's eternal order. That's why, when Abel's blood hit the ground, the entire earth felt the shock. It wasn't just a crime, it was a crack in the harmony of creation. The impact ran so deep, even the fertility of the soil was affected. Crops would never grow the same way again. The bond between humanity and nature was broken, in a way that would echo for generations. The Book of Jubilees takes it even further, saying this tragedy not only polluted the earth, but opened the door to a new era of disorder and violence. From that moment on, peace was shattered. And in this environment of chaos, the next secret was born. A cycle of redemption and renewal, marked by 49-year periods, the famous Jubilees. In the Book of Jubilees, time isn't just a string of days, it's a sacred cycle, carefully designed by God and written in the heavenly tablets. Every 7 years, a new rest period arrived, the sabbatical year. But the high point of this cycle was the year of Jubilee, happening every 49 years. It was a time of redemption, freedom, and restoration. Imagine the impact.
So they didn't turn it on, they didn't turn that right there on his head. So you say, what are you talking about? This is how you get people like Bill Gates and all these so billionaires, because of every 49 years, everything where it came from has to go back to where it came from. But they ain't doing that. Okay.
2 whole years, no planting, no harvesting, just trusting that God would provide. Not just an exercise in faith, but a full-blown test of absolute trust. During the year of Jubilee, lands returned to their original owners. Slaves were set free, and old debts completely erased. It was like a social, economic, and spiritual.
They didn't turn it upside down. That's how you get these millionaires and billionaires, because they didn't turn the Most High laws upside down, which is Esau, pretty much the Zionists. And yeah, Zionists, they're the ones that got the Most High whole creation and this law turned upside down, and that's how they're making their money off of the Most High's people. Okay, so like I said, that was this video was a forbidden book that unveils the origins of darkness. If you want to watch that video, okay. Any comments on that?
Shalom, everyone. I just looked it up, and the Mastema, as they talk about, is Hebrew, and it talks about it. It's if you look at it as a adjective, it describes hatred, hostility, enmity, or persecution to someone, to a person. And then they break it down. Master mate is an evil angel in the Book of Jubilees.
Exactly. We talked about that.
Yes.
So in Maxima, when he says the angel of death, they said told him to kill a lamb and put the blood over the doorpost, and the angel of death is going to pass over them. That's Maxima.
Yes, sir.
And his minions that he had with him. So when you understand, you want to really understand who Maxima is. The Most High, Lord of Hosts, asks this question all the time: am I not righteous? And so, why do we ask that question? Because he always leave a remnant. With the flood, he left a remnant. And when he took them to Egypt, he always leave a remnant. So when he brought the flood and with the fallen angels, he had Michael and Gabriel come down and bind those angels where he left a remnant. He left a remnant. That Master is the one that's over them.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's how that operates. So that's who came into Egypt. They was under the control of Michael. They only did what he told them to do, it what he allowed them to do. Okay. Anybody else have anything on that?
Shalom, brother Leonard. I seen too. They were just mentioning in that video about the 50 years, everything's supposed to go back to where it came from.
Right.
In 2019, when I was trying to jump the gun and leave, and I was looking at a lot of the paperwork for the land that they were giving out in Africa. I thought it was interesting that a lot of the paperwork said that, you will give you this land for 50 years, but then it goes back to the chief.
Right. Exactly. So all those laws are in place pretty much over there. That's where we came from, but we came to the West. The West is like a hell because of there's nothing that's was given to us in the law and in our culture over here. It's been all flipped up. It's been all flipped upside down when they brought us here, and that's why it's mandatory. You understand that we have to leave here and go back to the land where our God is, because the earth was divided up by these 70 angels. We saw that in Daniel. Yeah, you had the prince of Greece, you had the prince of Persia. Those are angels, and the angel that's over us is Michael over the region of where the land of Canaan at, Mount Sinai and Bethel, all that. So we have to return to our land, to where our God is at, where He dwells. The Bible keeps telling us He dwells in Mount Zion. Okay. Anybody got anything else?
Shalom. I believe that because of the rules and stipulations that's inside of the Book of Jubilee, they took it out because they didn't want to obey those rules, and it was too much to change it around for someone to say, "Well, why is this on this? Probably on that in this chapter, but yet you want to change. It's too hard to change Jubilee around to fit their narrative, so they just took it out."
Right. Yeah. The reason for them taking it out is that we can't perform. That's why he took it out. Because if we perform it, the Creator, the Lord of hosts in heaven, gonna react to it. So that was the whole purpose of it. They had to take it out so we wouldn't understand. Like, for instance, knowing who our God is, knowing who the Lord of hosts is, we can't call him. We call him everything but him. But the minute that we call him, he's gonna come. Like I read yesterday with David, said in the Psalms. Every time he called him, he heard his cry and he showed up. And we see the children of Israel doing the same thing. Because they knew who their God was. They knew his name and everything, so they called him. So that was the whole purpose of them doing the sight job they did on us. Was not to be able to understand how the order or the process. Okay. Anybody else?
Shalom. I wanted to say that just following everything really does make a difference, and just to testimony to what you just said, Brother Leonard. So last 7 years, which was what, 2018, I was one of those people, and I spoke on stuff like this before, where I was reading stuff and I was really just trying to stick to it, whether I knew the ins and outs or not. Again, even, keeping Passover, but there's not even a temple for there to be a correct sacrifice of the lamb. I don't know if it's clean, pure, unbroken, nothing. But I had started a garden in 2017. And so in 2018, I just said, well, I'm going to give the 7 years a rest, because this is the 7th year. And it was crazy to me that there were no weeds and everything was really, I didn't plant anything. Everything came back, even stuff that wasn't supposed to come back the next year. And I just thought that you got to be kidding me. Like, actually giving the land a break on year 7 did something. And I thought it was just, it blew my mind. Yeah.
Okay. That's so anybody else?
Shalom. If they spoke about the calendar, he spoke about the calendar, is that that they changed it, and so the Book of Jubilees has a different calendar.
They have the original calendar, 64 days in a year.
So that, yes, sir. So when they're saying it's actually 13 months instead of 12 months, that's not true.
No, it ain't. No, that's not true. And then he in the scriptures where he was just reading, saying that the Book of Jubilees don't correspond with the calendar they had in the temple. Well, the temple we talking about ain't had nothing to do with us. That temple was built. That wasn't built by Israelites. Like I said, Solomon, Zerubbabel temple was destroyed by Antiochus Epiphanes. What came after that was Herod temple. He an Edomite. They can't build a temple to God. So it would only make sense to understand that the calendar that's in Jubilees is not going to coincide with the calendar that's in the temple that Herod made. The temple that that's what they did. That's what they're dealing with. They're going back to the temple they Herod built, which had nothing to do with us. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So anybody else got anything else for a read? Okay. We're in the book. We're in Leviticus. We're gonna be reading chapters 11 to 15. Leviticus. I'm gonna read chapter 1. Anidra.
Yes, sir. Leviticus chapter 11, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Leviticus chapter 11. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is cloven footed, and cheweth the cud, among the beasts that ye shall eat. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof. He is unclean unto you. And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. And the hare, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. And the swine, though he divide the hoof, and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. Of their flesh shall you not eat, and their carcass shall you not touch, they are unclean to you. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. They shall be even an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses in abomination. Whatsoever hath no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. And these are they which ye shall have in abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle, the ostrich, and the osprey, and the vulture, and the kite after his kind, every raven after his kind, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl, and the swan, and the pelican, and the gyre eagle, and the stork, the heron after her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat. All fowls that creep going upon all four shall be an abomination unto you. Yet these may ye eat of every flying, creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth. Even these of them you may eat, the locust after his kind, and the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. But all other flying, creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you. And for these ye shall be unclean. Whosoever touches the carcass of them shall be unclean until the even. And whosoever beareth aught of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the even. The carcasses of every beast which divideth the hoof and is not cloven footed, nor cheweth the cud, are unclean unto you. Every one that toucheth them shall be unclean. And whatsoever goeth upon his paws among all manner of beasts that go on all four, those are unclean unto you. Whoso toucheth their carcass shall be unclean until the even. And he that beareth the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the even. They are unclean unto you. These also shall be unclean unto you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth, the weasel and the mouse and the tortoise after his kind, and the ferret and the chameleon and the lizard and the snail and the mole. Are unclean to you among all that creep. Whosoever touches them when they be dead shall be unclean until the even. And upon whatsoever any of them, when they are dead, doth fall, it shall be unclean, whether it be any vessel of wood, or raiment, or skin, or sack, whatsoever vessel it be, wherein any work is done, it must be put into water, and it shall be unclean until the even, so it shall be cleansed. And every earthen vessel whereunto any of them falleth, whatsoever is in it shall be unclean, and ye shall break it. Of all meat which may be eaten, that on which such water cometh shall be unclean, and all drink that may be drunk in every such vessel shall be unclean. And everything whereupon any part of their carcass falleth shall be unclean, whether it be oven or ranges for pots, they shall be broken down, for they are unclean, and shall be unclean unto you. Nevertheless, a fountain or pit, wherein there is plenty of water, shall be clean, but that which touches their carcass shall be unclean. And if any part of their carcass fall upon any sowing seed which is to be sown, it shall be unclean. But if any water be put upon the seed, and any part of their carcass fall thereon, it shall be unclean unto you. And if any beast of which ye may eat die, he that toucheth the carcass thereof shall be unclean until the even. And he that eateth the carcass of it shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the even. He also that beareth the carcass of it shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. And every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth shall be an abomination. It shall not be eaten. Whatsoever goeth upon the belly, and whatsoever goeth upon all four, or whatsoever hath more feet among all creeping things that shall creep upon the earth, them ye shall not eat, for they are an abomination. Ye shall make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creepeth, neither shall ye make yourselves unclean with them, that ye should be defiled thereby. For I am the Lord your God. Ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and ye shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall ye defile yourself with any manner of creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. For I am the Lord that bringeth you up out of the land of Egypt to be your God. Ye shall therefore be holy, for I am holy. This is the law of the beast, and of the fowl, and of every living creature that moveth in the waters, and of every creature that creepeth upon the earth, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beast that may be eaten and the beast that may not be eaten. That was Leviticus chapter 11. Shalom.
Okay, anybody have any comments on that? Anything stick out?
Shalom. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Shalom. When he talks about the clean and the unclean, and we go back to Genesis when he created first the water creatures and then the air creatures, and then the water, and then the cattle creatures, all of those were good. And then where does it start to be after the fall of man? Is that when they start to be unclean? Where does it start?
Well, they was unclean from the beginning. It's just when he said they're good, means that what he made them for was good. So when you say, what are you talking about? You got the ocean, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the ocean get dirty. So it's a set of animals in the ocean. They keep the ocean clean. So they unclean. But they was good when he made them. It was good for what they were doing. And so the same thing on the earth. You got animals that when a beast would die, then you got possums and coons and all these different animals and hogs that come and keep the earth, cleanse the earth.
Yes,
so
sir.
And like I said before, with the body, you got two different systems inside the body. They have them. They don't know if you. I mean, I had a class on it, but you got the blue side. You got the blue, and then you got the red. The red is what for digestive system, which is where you poop and all that stuff. It's good, but it's not good because it's for cleansing. Then you got the other side where the blue side. So when he says it's good, it means that, like I said, he made the possum, and the way that he made it, it was good. But the possum doing what he's supposed to do, which makes him unclean. Just like the snail and the tortoise in the ocean, they doing what they good, but they doing what they're supposed to do, which makes them unclean.
Yes, sir. Got it. Thank you.
Anybody else got anything on that? On chapter 11? Or chapter 11?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I
Shalom.
want. All right.
I was just tying this back to the video from earlier. One of the things that used to make me very frustrated with the scripture in the Bible and just the canon is what we just read, but all the way back in like Genesis, I think it's chapter 7. I can't remember. Noah is blatantly told to bring 7 of each clean animal. And it just blew my mind that, again, in this video talked about it, how clearly there were things set in place well before we're all assuming they were set in place. And my take on chapter 11 on Leviticus is I had to remember that it's a group of Israelites that were living in the land of Egypt. And kind of like us, when you're slaves, you're just eating what is there or whatever is available. So now you're my people. This is what you eat. Like, I need to remind you, this is what I told your forefathers, what's clean. But again, even Noah knew what to take on the ark. It didn't seem like there was a question when he was told to only take 7 of all the clean animals, not just 2.
Right. So we get. I was talking to AJ about this. Okay. So we have all these homegrown Negroes that they done brought up and got them doing certain things, and they're not getting the information the same way the prophets Abraham and all them back in the day did. So it's a big difference. So you got to look at who's talking. Like I said, if you want to find out who the God Israel is, if you start thinking like Hebrew, you see it. Who's telling him what to take on the ark? That goes your Redeemer right there. All through the scriptures, we can see these prophets talking to somebody. So who told him? Like I said in the garden, who told him that to do this and do that in the garden? And then he asked him. And when he came, he been talking to him. He came, and all of a sudden, Adam hiding and Eve hiding. And he asked him, "Who told thee that I was naked?" Nobody dealing with that. So all through the scriptures, these men talking to somebody, and that's why Daniel said, "A certain man." I looked and I saw a certain man, clothed and girded about with a golden girdle around him. Who is certain man? The one that's been talking to them all the way back to the garden. They came in the cool of the day, and then they want to say them trying to put the Tanak, the Torah on Moses. No, the same being gave Moses the Torah. That's the Redeemer. It ain't Yahweh. And another thing here, reading this right here, you got these people, they want to contend with what a day is. They want to say that from day that when the sun comes, there's a 12-hour period when the sun come out. But look what he keep on saying right here. If they did something with one of these unclean animals, he says you unclean to evening. See that? So you look at that and you go to when he created the earth. Let's go back. So when he first in Genesis chapter 1, let's look at that quick. Genesis chapter 1, it says, okay, Genesis chapter 1 says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. 2, and the earth was without form and void, darkness. So when he came, the process started, it's blue-black, it's dark. This is how the process started. So then you turn the page. It says, it says 4. And God said, this is chapter 1, verse 4. And God saw the light, that it was good. So remember, verse 2 is black dark. Now, 4, God saw the light. So the light came after the darkness. Saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day. and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning was the first day. That's both of them together. You get a day. Now he just told him, if you defile yourself, you defile till evening. So how can you come on? How can you get this garbage about the daylight is one day? No, the more he says when the flood came, it rained 40 days and 40 nights. So both of them go together to make a day. 24-hour period. And we see right here in this what she was just reading, Anitra was just reading about evening, even. When you understand what evening is. Okay. Anybody else got anything on chapter 11?
Shalom. Just one thing. When in verse 45, it says, "For I am the Lord who brings you up out of the land of Egypt to be your God. You shall therefore be holy, for I am holy." And that's not consider talking about eating, is it?
No, holy means that he's clean.
And so, if he's holy, we are holy.
Right. And keeping the law is what make him holy.
Yes, sir.
So that's why I say even this being right here is what's giving all our forefathers this knowledge in order to make them holy.
Yes, sir. So that phrase, so above is below, so as above is same as below. What does that phrase mean?
As above, so below.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that.
The heaven is above and the earth is below, right?
So we ate. Our forefathers ate the manna like the angels ate the manna.
Right.
Okay.
Angel food.
But they don't eat. They don't eat the like. They don't have animals up there in heaven. Just down here.
Genesis 18, Moses sent the young kids to the herd. He got a calf tender and good. And he told Sarah to bake cakes, and he brought it to the three angels. They ate it.
Wow. Okay.
Right, yeah. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna go to, let me see where we at. Yeah. You want to read chapter 12, Brittany?
Yes, I can read 12. Leviticus 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a woman have conceived seed and born a man child, then she shall be unclean 7 days. According to the days of the separation for her infirmity shall she be unclean. And in the 8th day the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. And she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 33 days. She shall touch no hallowed thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purifying be fulfilled. But if she bear a maid child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her separation. And she shall continue in the blood of her purifying 66 days. And when the days of her purifying are fulfilled, for a son or for a daughter, she shall bring a lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, and a young pigeon or a turtle dove for a sin offering, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, unto the priest, who shall offer it before the Lord and make an atonement for her, and she shall be cleansed from the issue of her blood. This is the law for her that hath borne a male or a female. And if she be not able to bring a lamb, then she shall bring 2 turtles, or 2 young pigeons, the one for the burnt offering and the other for a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for her, and she shall be clean.
Okay. You got anything on that? You got any feedback? Okay.
So I've been confused on chapter 12, Leviticus, ever since I've ever read it. And I think, oh, I wrote down a question I had that's similar to that. I think, yes, it's actually in Jubilees, where it says Adam had a defilement of 7 days, but a female had 14 days. So Adam was placed in the garden earlier.
That's trickeration. That's
Okay.
what I mean. That's about getting them. When I say get the meat out, that's trickeration, because what we know that it's a 6-day man. He on Genesis 1:6, Genesis 1:26. He made a man and a woman. He created a man and a woman. But then he came back on the 8th day with Adam. That Adam didn't have no woman with him, but the man in Genesis 1:26 got a man. So with the nut bucket that did that in Jubilees, he trying to make it the same people. He trying to make the man and the woman that's in Genesis 1:26 and Adam, which is where everybody at today from the church. He came down from the Catholic Church, and trying to make that all the same people when they're not the same people. The man in Genesis 1:26 was created with a woman. But the man in chapter 2, Adam, when he created on the 8th day, he created, he didn't have no woman. He saw, after he started engaging with him, he saw he needed a woman. And he put him to sleep and made Eve. But the other man, that's two different men. Two different men, two different women. So, but they trying to merge them together in Jubilees, the part that you're bringing up, which is causing the confusion.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a man created. Like I said, there's a man that was created. She just asked the question about as above, so below. So it's a difference in form and created. So the 7 angels, they was formed, right?
Yes.
Okay, but the rest of the millions of angels wasn't formed. That's why these 7 so personal to the Creator. He formed them with his hands, so they personal to him. Adam, they formed him with their hands, personal, but it's a man he created in Genesis 1:26 with a woman. 6-day man, I call him the 6-day man. So the same thing with those angels. The reason why those 7 are so prevalent in the scriptures, because he formed them in the very beginning. The rest of them were spoken into existence. Those millions and millions of angels were spoken in. So like I said, as above, so below. What was done in heaven was done on earth. You got a man that was formed on earth. You got a man that was created. You got angels in heaven that was formed, and someone was created. That's the order. Okay, is that making sense?
That makes sense.
Okay, so now I want to show you, make this make sense right here, chapter 12. It says, let me get the word voice. So let me get it right. So it says, verse 2, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a woman have conceived a seed and born a man child, then she shall be unclean 7 days, according to the days of separation for her infirmity shall she be unclean. So what is that telling you? What is that? What is that all about right there? You being a woman, what is that all about?
So that's being unclean due to after giving birth?
Menstruation.
Basically fluid still coming out within those 7 days.
All of it, all that's tied to it. That's the reason women have that. That's why we know they ain't the same. They're different. The man and the woman are totally different. So that's what he's talking about. All of the blood, all that, he tied to that. But this is my point right here, which for a lot of people need to hear this. So it says, verse 4, And she shall then continue, check it out. And she shall then continue in her blood. See that? Blood, ain't but we know what blood you talking about. Okay. See, and she shall continue in the blood of her purification 3 and 30 days, and she shall touch no hollow thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purification be fulfilled. 5. But if she bears a male child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her separation, and she shall continue in the blood, okay, of her purification 3 and 6 days. Then 6, we going somewhere. And when the days of her purifying are fulfilled for a son or a daughter, she shall, here you go. Here go the doozy right here. This ain't got nothing to do with the white man or the Chinese. It said, she shall bring a lamb. Check it out. She shall bring a lamb for the first year for a burnt offering, and a young pigeon or a turtle dove or for a sin offering unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation to the priest. So the blood and the ministration tied to the priest, not Yahweh, not the Lord of hosts. That's what these nut buckets have done to us. See, let me read it again. But if she bear a male child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in the separation, and she shall be continuing her blood. See that? The blood of her purifying, there's 66 days. And when the days of her purifying are fulfilled for a son or a daughter, she shall bring the lamb of firstborn burnt offering and a young pigeon or a turtle dove for a sin offering unto the door of the tabernacle unto the priest. See that? Not to Yahweh, not to the Lord of hosts. So you say, what you talking about? Let's go back. Now, this ain't got nothing to do with the Chinese or the Mexican and all them. This is what you got to understand. Now, watch this. I'm back in Genesis, where I'm always going. Verse 15. Chapter 15. Watch this. This is Abraham. Chapter 7. And he said unto him, so this Abraham talking to the Lord of hosts, right? And he said unto him, I am the Lord thy God, that brought thee up out of the land of the Chaldeans to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, Abraham, Lord God, wherefore shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, take me. The same thing the woman had to do, but she bringing it to the priest. And he said unto him, take me a heifer 3 years old, a she-goat 3 years old, a ram 3 years old, turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these and divided them in the midst of the land, each piece, one against another, and the birds he divided not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abraham drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abraham, and a lower heart of great darkness fell upon him. So Abraham had to bring this to the Lord of hosts. But over here, the woman got to bring this to the priest. You see that? So like I was telling you about the ram and the lamb and all that, it's connected to the Israelite man by the hips. Well, the ministration and all that in the woman tied to the priest. Come on. Not to Yahweh, not to the Lord of hosts. Come on. Anyway,
what's the reason for the longer days? So it's about 40 days if it's a male, but 80 if it's a female child born.
Because of who they are. Unto us a son is given. The government is upon his shoulder, right? Is it government on the woman's shoulder?
No.
Okay, that's the difference. He belonged to Yahweh, she belonged to him. That's a big difference. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, and that's this major because at the gate, we like we said, we do all this stuff is what brought forth righteous children. We ain't doing none of that. We don't have no flocks and no herds to to do none of this. And so, like I was saying, I say over and over again, this how we know that he hid his face from us. When he took all this away, he took the herbs and all the stuff that we do, he took the temple away. That's how he hid his face from us. That's how we know JC, he ain't the one. Whoever our God is, he the one took away our flocks and our herds. He the one took. He didn't come trying to be no lamb. He took the lambs away. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Okay. Chapter 13. You gonna read that, Joyce?
Yes, sir. A holy people of leprosy. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, when a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising, a scab, or a bright spot, it shall be in the skin of his flesh like the plague of leprosy. Then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons the priests. And the priest shall look on the plague in the skin of the flesh, and when the hair in the plague is turned white, and the plague in sight be deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is a plague of leprosy. And the priest shall look on him and pronounce him unclean. If the bright spot be white in the skin of his flesh, and in the sight be not deeper than the skin, and the hair thereof be not turned white, then the priest shall shut up him that have the plague 7 days. Verse 5, and the priest shall look on him the 7th day, and behold, if the plague in his sight be at a stay, and the plague spread not in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days more. And the priest shall look on him again the 7th day, and behold, if the plague be somewhat dark, and the plague spread not in the skin, the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is but a scab, and he shall wash the clothes and be clean. But if the scab spread much abroad in the skin, after that he have been seen of the priest for his cleansing, he shall be seen of the priest again. And if the priest see that, behold, the scab spreadeth in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprosy. Verse 9, when the plague of leprosy is in a man, then he shall be brought unto the priest. And the priest shall see him, and behold, if the rising be white in the skin, and it have turned the hair white, and there be quick raw flesh in the rising, it is an old leprosy in the skin of his flesh, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and shall not shut him up, for he is unclean. And if a leprosy break out abroad in the skin, and the leprosy cover all the skin of him that have the plague, from his head even to his foot, wheresoever the priest looketh, then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that have the plague. It is all turned white, he is clean. But when raw flesh appeareth in him, he shall be unclean. Verse 15, and the priest shall see the raw flesh, and pronounce him to be unclean, for the raw flesh is unclean, it is a leprosy. Or if the raw flesh turn again, and be changed unto white, he shall come unto the priest, and the priest shall see him, and behold, if the plague be turned into white, then the priest shall pronounce him clean that have the plague, he is clean. The flesh also, in which even in the skin thereof was a boil, and is held, and in the place of the boil there is a white rising, or a bright spot, white and somewhat reddish, and it be showed to the priest. And if when the priest seeth it, behold, it be in sight lower than the skin, and the hair thereon be turned white, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a plague of leprosy broken out of the boil. If the priest look on it, and behold, there be no white hairs therein, and if it be not lower than the skin, but be somewhat dark, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. And if it spread much abroad in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a plague. But if the bright spot stay in his place and spread not, it is a burning boil, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. Or if there be any flesh in the skin, wherefore there is a hot burning, and the quick flesh that burneth have a white bright spot, somewhat reddish or white, then the priest shall look upon it, and behold, if the hair in the bright spot be turned white, and it be in the sight deeper than the skin, it is a leprosy broken out of the burning, wherefore the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is the plague of leprosy. Verse 26, but if the priest look on it, and behold, there be no white hair in the bright spot, and it be no lower than the other skin, but the somewhat dark, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. And the priest shall look upon him the 7th day, and if it be spread much abroad in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is the plague of leprosy. And if the bright spot stay in his place and spread not in the skin, but it be somewhat dark, it is a rising of the burning, and the priest shall pronounce him clean, for it is an inflammation of the burning. If a man or woman have a plague upon the head or the beard, the priest shall see the plague, and behold, it be in sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a dry scale, even a leprosy upon the head of or beard. And if the priest look on the plague of the scale, and behold, it be not in sight deeper than the skin, and that there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut him up that have the plague of the skull 7 days. And in the 7th day of the priest, in the 7th day, the priest shall look on the plague, and behold, if the skull spread not, and there be in it no yellow hair, and the skull be not in the sight deeper than the skin, he shall be shaven, but the skull shall be not shaved. The priest shall shut him up that have the skull 7 days more. And in the 7th day the priest shall look on the skull, and behold, if the skull he not spread in the skin, nor be in the sight deeper than the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the skull spread much in the skin after his cleansing, then the priest shall look on him, and behold, if the skull be spread in the skin, the priest shall not seek for yellow hair. He is unclean. But if the skull be in his sight at a stay, that there is black hair grown up therein, the skull is healed. He is clean, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. If a man also or a woman have in the skin of their flesh bright spots, even white bright spots, then the priest shall look, and behold, if the bright spots in the skin of their flesh be darkish white, it is a freckle spot that groweth in the skin, he is clean. Verse 40, and the man whose hair is fallen off his head, he is bald, yet he is clean. And he that have his hair fallen off from the part of his head toward his face, he is forehead bald, yet he is clean. And if there be in the bald head or bald forehead a white reddish sore, it is a leprosy sprung up in his bald head or his bald forehead. Then the priest shall look upon it, and behold, if the rising of the sore be white reddish in his bald head or in his bald forehead, as the leprosy appeareth in the skin of the flesh, he is a leprous man, he is unclean. The priest shall pronounce him utterly unclean, his plague is in his head. And the leper in whom the plague is, his clothes shall be rent, and his head bare, and he shall put a covering upon his upper lip, and shall cry, unclean, unclean. All the days wherein the plague shall be in him, he shall be defiled. He is unclean. He shall dwell alone. Without the camp shall his habitation be. Verse 47, the garment also that the plague of leprosy is in whether it be a woolen garment or a linen garment, whether it be in the warp or woof of the linen or the woolen, whether in a skin or in anything made of skin. And if the plague be greenish or reddish in the garment or in the skin, either in the warp or in the woof of anything of skin, it is plague of leprosy, and shall be showed unto the priest. And the priest shall look upon the plague and shut up it that have the plague 7 days. And he shall look at the plague on the seventh day. If the plague be spread in the garment, either in the warp or in the woof or in the skin or in any work that is made of skin, the plague is a fretting leprosy. It is unclean. Verse 52, he shall therefore burn the garment, whether warp or woof, in woolen or linen, or in anything of skin wherein the plague is, for it is fretting leprosy, it shall be burnt in the fire. And if the priest shall look and behold the plague be not spread in the garment, either in the warp or in the woof or in anything of skin, then the priest shall command that the wash of the thing wherein the plague is, and he shall shut it up 7 days more. And the priest shall look on the plague after that it is washed, and behold, if the plague have not changed its color, and the plague be not spread, it is unclean. That shall burn it in the fire. It is fret inward, whether it be bare within or without. If the priest look and behold the plague be somewhat dark after the washing of it, then he shall rend it out of the garment, or out of the skin, or out of the warp, or out of the woof. And if it appeared still in the garment, either in the warp or in the woof, or anything of the skin, it is spreading plague. Thou shalt burn that wherein the plague is with fire. Verse 58, and the garment, either warp or woof, or some whatsoever thing of skin it be, which thou shalt wash, if the plague be departed from them, then it shall be washed the second time and shall be clean. This is the law of the plague of leprosy in the garment of the woolen or linen, either in the warp or woof, or anything of skins, to pronounce it clean or to pronounce it unclean. That was Leviticus 13, 1 through 59.
Okay, got any feedback?
Only that the priests, when they bring these people to them that have the different facets of the leprosy, he is the one that decides if they're clean according to what he sees. And that, again, just like with the woman staying away for 7 days, then they have to go away for a certain amount of time and come back, and then he'll tell them if they're clean or unclean.
Okay, so let's do this first, because what we read right here is big, is humongous. So I'm in chapter 18. I'm always over in 18 Numbers, and it says right here, the suffering servant. That's how you have to understand who the suffering servant is. Chapter 18, and the Lord said unto Aaron, the priest that we talking about over here in Leviticus, and the Lord said unto Aaron, thou and thy sons and thy father's house with thee shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary. Thou and thy sons with thee shall bear the iniquity of the priesthood. That's what we're looking at. The priest. So right here in this verse, there's 59 verses in here. Nowhere is Yahweh in there pertaining to white skin, pertaining to the European and all them. The priest. So I'm gonna give you a scenario. The priest, the one that look upon a man, any man on earth, and he the one called whether he a leprosy or not. Not that authority been given to him. So let's go to the transatlantic slave trade. The priest chained up on the boat. Can he call leprosy when he see it?
No, sir.
He can't call it.
No, sir.
Come on. So the administration, can he call it? He can't call it. But he the one, Most High done put this on. This is our dilemma right here. So where these priests at today? They right here amongst us. Though, but they the ones in charge of this. They the ones that call leprosy. They're the ones calling it. They're the ones looking at it. Nowhere in this verse, in this chapter, is the Lord of hosts dealing with it. It's the priest.
You're right. Yes, sir.
Come on, look, see how big that is. So this how this really shine light on who the suffering servant is. Now we see why he the suffering servant. He ain't got no authority over nothing right now. But look at all the authority that he got. And then they said 2019, the curses was up. You don't see the high priest got this authority, the priesthood. They over here among us. We still in the same situation we was in 2025 that we was in 2019. Same thing, same way with the baptism. The Egyptians was back. They worshipped the Nile River. They the ones was getting baptized in the Nile River. So when you dip somebody in the water, they're a demon before you dip them in there, and then when you dip them in there, they're a wet demon. And shit happen because it ain't got nothing to do with us. Same thing when I just talking about what a day is. Contrary to how you throw it off you is creating all his shoulders what a day is. This is what our dilemma is. Okay? So, anybody else got anything on that? The responsibility don't get no bigger than this. And yeah, the Lord of hosts ain't no way in it. It's the priests and the Levites. Come on. On a month-to-month basis with the woman. It's the priest. It's tied to that. Not the Lord of hosts. Okay? Ain't that something?
Yes,
so,
sir.
AJ, you want to read 14?
Right. Yes, sir. The laws for cleansing the lepers. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest, and the priest shall go forth out of the camp, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague of leprosy be healed in the leper, then shall the priest command to take for him that is to be cleansed 2 birds alive and clean, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. And the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed in an earthen vessel over running water. As for the living bird, he shall take it, and the cedar wood, and the scarlet, and the hyssop, and shall dip them in the living bird in the blood of the bird that was killed over the running water. And he shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose in the open field. And he that is to be clean shall wash his clothes and shave off all his hair and wash himself in the water, that he may be clean. And after that he shall come into the camp and shall tarry abroad out of the tent 7 days. But it shall be on the 7th day that he shall shave all of his hair, all his hair off his head, and his beard, and his eyebrows, even all his hair he shall shave off, and he shall wash his clothes, and he shall wash his flesh in water, and he shall be clean. Verse 10, and on the 8th day he shall take 2 lambs without blemish, and 1 ill lamb of the first year without blemish, and 3/10 deals of fine flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, and 1 log of oil. And the priest that maketh him clean shall present the man that is to be made clean and those things before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall take 1 he lamb and offer him for a trespass offering, and the log of oil, and wave them, excuse me, for a wave offering before the Lord. And he shall slay the lamb in the place where he shall kill the sin offering and the burnt offering in the holy place. For as the sin offering is the priest's, so is the trespass offering. It is most holy. And the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. And the priest shall take some of the log of oil and pour it upon the palm of his own left hand, and the priest shall dip his right finger in the oil that is in his left hand, and shall sprinkle of the oil with his fingers 7 times before the Lord. And the rest of the oil that is in his hand shall the priest put upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot, upon the blood of the trespass offering. Verse 18, and the remnant of oil that is in the priest's hand, he shall pour upon the head of him that is to be clean, and the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord. And the priest shall offer the sin offering and make atonement for him that is to be cleansed from his uncleanness. And afterward he shall kill the burnt offering, and the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the meat offering upon the altar, and the priest shall make an atonement for him, and he shall be clean. And if he be poor and cannot get much, he shall take one lamb for a trespass offering to be waved, to make an atonement for him, and 1/10 deal of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, and a log of oil, and 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, such as he is able to get. And the one shall be a sin offering, and the other a burnt offering. And he shall bring them on the 8th day for his cleansing unto the priest, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. Verse 24. And the priest shall take the lamb of the trespass offering and the log of oil, and the priest shall wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. And he shall kill the lamb of the trespass offering, and the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering and put it upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleaned, and upon and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. And the priest shall pour of the oil into the palm of his own left hand, and the priest shall sprinkle with his right finger some of the oil that is in his left hand 7 times before the Lord. And the priest shall put of the oil that is in his hand upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot, and upon the place of the blood of the trespass offering. And the rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand he shall put upon the head of him that is to be cleansed, to make an atonement for him before the Lord. And he shall offer the one of the turtle doves or the young pigeons, such as he can get, even such as he is able to get, the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering with a meat offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed before the Lord. That is the law of him in whom is the plague of leprosy, whose hand is not able to get that which pertaineth to his cleansing. Verse 33, and the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, when ye be come into the land of Canaan, which I give to you for a possession, and I put the plague of leprosy in the house of the land of your possession, and he that owneth the house shall come and tell the priest, saying, it seemeth to me there is as it were a plague in the house, and the priest shall command that they empty the house before the priest go into it and see the plague, that all that is in the house be made unclean. And afterward the priest shall go in to see the house, and he shall and he shall look onto the plague, and behold, if the plague be in the walls of the house with hollow straits, greenish or reddish, which is in sight, are lower than the wall. Then the priest shall go out of the house to the door of the house and shut up the house 7 days. And the priest shall come again the seventh day and shall look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the walls of the house, and the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which the plague is, and they shall cast them in an unclean place without the city. And he shall cause the house to be scraped down, and he shall cause the house to be scraped down within round about, and they shall pour out the dust that they scrape off without the city into an unclean place. And they shall take other stones and put them in the place of those stones, and he shall take other mortar and he shall plaster the house. And if the plague come again and break out in the house, after he have taken away the stones, and after he have scraped the house, and after it is plastered, then the priest shall come and look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the house, it is a fretting leprosy in the house, it is unclean. And he shall break down the house, the stones of it, and the timber thereof, and all the mortar of the house, and he shall carry them forth out of the city into an unclean place. Moreover, he that goeth into the house, all that while that it is shut up shall be unclean until the evening. Verse 47. And he that lieth in the house shall wash his clothes, and he that eateth in the house shall wash his clothes. And if the priest come in and look upon it, and behold, the plague have not spread in the house, after the house was plastered, then the priest shall pronounce the house clean, because the plague is healed. And he shall take to cleanse the house 2 birds, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop, and he shall kill the one of the birds in an earthen vessel over running water. And he shall take the cedar wood and the hyssop and the scarlet and the living bird, and dip them in the blood of the slain bird and in the running water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. And he shall cleanse the house with the blood of the bird, and with the running water, and with the living bird, and with the cedar wood, and with the hyssop, and with the scarlet. But he shall let go the living bird out of the city into the open fields, and make an atonement for the house, and it shall be clean. This is the law for all manner of the plague of leprosy and scald, and for the leprosy of a garment and of a house, and for a rising, and for a scab, and for a bright spot, to teach when it is unclean and when it is clean. This is the law of leprosy. And that is Leviticus chapter 14. Shalom.
Okay. Got any feedback?
No, sir.
Yeah, so we see right here, continue on. Do we see the Lord of hosts or the priest?
We see the priest, suffering servant.
Right. And they always talking about the blood. Who dealing with the blood? The priest.
Levites. Mm-hmm.
They always talking about the blood. Hey, come on. It's the blood right here. We see, like I said, Isaiah, you trying to find the suffering servant, go to Isaiah 52, 13, 14, 15. He shall sprinkle. That's the priest. Not JC. Okay. And then verse 11, I'm gonna read that because it struck a chord with me. Verse 11 says, and the priest that maketh him clean. See that? The priest that maketh him clean. See that? Not Yahweh. The priest that maketh him clean shall present the man that is to be made clean, and those things before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. See that? So you gotta look at that because the priest is part of the process. Go to Ezekiel 37 when he says, "I'm gonna bring David out, and then I'm gonna cleanse you." Well, the priest got to be there. He part of the cleansing. Come on, ain't that so? So, anybody else got anything on that? 14. Okay, I'm in chapter 15, it's the last chapter. It says, unclean discharges from the body. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when any man have a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue, he is unclean. And this shall be his uncleanness in his house, in his issue. Whether his flesh run with his issue or his flesh be stopped from his issue, it is his uncleanness. Every bed wherein he lieth that he had the issue is unclean, and everything whereon he sitteth shall be unclean. And whosoever touches his bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until to evening. They go to evening again. Okay. All right. And he that sitteth on anything wherein he sit that have the issue shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until evening. And he that toucheth the flesh of him that have the issue shall wash his clothes, bathe himself in water, and be unclean until evening. And if he that have the issue spit unto him that is clean, then he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until evening. And what saddle soever he rideth upon that have the issue shall be unclean. And whatsoever toucheth anything that was under him shall be unclean until evening. And he that beareth anything of those things that shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until evening. And whosoever he toucheth that have the issue and have not rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until evening. And the vessels of the earth that he touches, which have the issue, shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed in water. And when he that have an issue is cleansed of his issue, then he shall number to himself 7 days for his cleansing, and wash his clothes, and bathe in his flesh in running water, and shall be unclean. And on the 8th day he shall take to him 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, and come before the Lord unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and give them to the priest. So I'm gonna read that again so you can let it ferment. It says on the 8th day, they go to 8th day again. On the 8th day, he shall take him 2 turtle doves, 2 young pigeons. Now check it out. You're gonna come before the Lord, right? You're gonna come before the Lord unto, see that? Come before the Lord unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and give them to the priest. So, like I said, go back to Isaiah. Go back to what I just read in Numbers 18, and what I just read in Isaiah 52. When you come to the when the Lord come back, there they is. Him and the priest, they connected at the hip, just like Yahweh and Michael connected at the hip. Read it again. And on the 8th day, he shall take to him 2 turtle doves, 2 pigeons, and come before the Lord unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and give them to the priest. See that? And the priest shall offer them, the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord for his issue. And if any man seed of the compilation go out from him, then shall he wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until evening. And every garment and every skin wherein is the seed of compilation shall be washed with water and be unclean until evening. So I want you. I'm gonna shine light on this. So they whatever they doing, whether the issue or whatever, the blood or whatever, he said unclean to evening. So evening is when the sun's going down. You know what I'm saying? So according to these Negroes, he gonna be unclean all the way through past when the sun go down to the next day when the daylight come out. That's that ferment. Okay, anyway, so the woman also with whom the man shall lie with seed of compilation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean until evening. And if the woman have an issue, and an issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days, and whosoever touches her shall be unclean until evening. And everything that she lies upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sits upon shall be unclean. And whosoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until evening. And whatsoever touches anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until evening. And if it be on her bed or on anything wherein she sitteth, when he toucheth it, it shall be unclean until evening. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flower be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the blood, all the bed wherein he lies shall be unclean. And if a woman have an issue of her blood many days out of the time of her separation, or if it runs between the time of the separation, all the days of the issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation. She shall be unclean. Every bed wherewith she lieth, all the days of her issue shall be unto her as the bed of her separation, and whatsoever she sitteth upon shall be unclean, and unclean of her separation. And whatsoever toucheth those things shall be unclean, and wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until evening. But if she be cleansed of her issue, then she shall number to herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. Okay, and on the 8th day she shall take unto her 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, and bring them into the priest to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the priest shall offer one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for her before the Lord for the issue of her uncleanness. Thus shall ye separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness, that they die not in their uncleanness when they defile my tabernacle that is among them. This is the law of him that have an issue, and of him whose seed goeth from him and is defiled therewith, and of her that is sick of her flower, and of him that have an issue of a man, and any of and of the woman, and of him that lieth with her that is unclean. So that was chapter 15 of Leviticus. Anybody got any comeback feed? You want to feedback on that chapter? So no, see how smooth you see how smooth the Lord of hosts is, right? He got a whole another way he talking about. He's saying flower. We know what that is, but it's smooth, right? He said flower, and then he dealing with the man about his compilation. Then we know what that is, okay? But this is my thing right here. When you read this right here, especially this last chapter 15, the Israelites weren't sitting around trying to do the nasty. See that? They weren't trying to do the nasty. Look at all this. How you trying to do the nasty? See all this? What's going on? All this thing came about here lately, what they gave us. But if you're looking at, if you're doing this right here, and you in Israel, how you trying to do the nasty? Let that ferment. Come on. You ain't got time. You ain't got time for the things that's going on now. You don't have time for it. If you dealing with that right there, you come on. Let that ferment. Okay. Anybody got any comments or questions?
No, sir.
Okay. So we passed about 15 minutes past 2 hours. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. I mean, you might want to go back and listen to that again and let that firmate or read those 5 chapters again, because they're a doozy. Okay, shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Hello.